Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So after beating up a bunch of frogs in Boss Rush level 4, we decided to go back and take down AS Nagi's second and more difficult manifest. Now if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So if you've caught my first fight against AS Nagi to get the manifest, I did use a free team with 7, and I realized 7 isn't a free unit, but for the sake of arguments, we'll call it free plus 7. And I wanted to see if this team, although not as powerful as some of the more gacha related teams, can handle this particular boss. So I'm expecting something different. Obviously the first fight is much more easy, and so I'm just going to go all out with a 1-turn AF. Remember that one good thing about 7 is that as long as the zone is not in play, he can activate zone, and yes, he can activate it during the AF. You also have Hero able to lock in Awaken or another zone, and you can get the double boost in damage that way if you'd like. And then of course, all you have to do is make sure you set up after the Monsoon to set the zone. You cast Dust Devil to give him mental focus, and then spam those Rampage Gales all together over and over again. Remember that Starkey can be equipped with a wind element such that it can apply wind resist debuff up to 60% or 30 stackable 3 times. Okay, so first HP stopper is hit, and we have a new mechanic that we didn't see in the first fight. It breaks your zone, and so the good thing is 7 can re-establish zone without doing anything special, which is great. And so he is faster than the rest of the party, and I made sure he would be that way just in case anything would happen. And note that we do have multiple stacks of power down because AS Nagi is obviously a physical type attacker. Wind Zone does protect us against reducing earth type damage by 50%, but with multiple stacks of power, we really shouldn't have too much difficulty at this point. And all we have to do is continue attacking and having multiple stacks of those power down. So now we finally are establishing additional stacks of wind resist down with culmination winds. Not to mention, like I said, Tornado from Starkey is more than adequate. I would argue that if I had to redo this fight, I would definitely have put on a stun resist badge on Starkey, being that he's going to be raging those hits. And note that when he is being stunned, he can't counter heal. So something to keep in mind if you are having difficulty with this fight, use Starkey with a stun resist badge, and using something like a zombie will already help control the fight. Now, I don't know how difficult the fight is if we let the battle continue on further. However, the fact that we're only taking low teens or sometimes low hundreds is more than adequate. And since we were able to establish wind zone over and over again, we can power up a bar very, very easily. So remember that Monsoon can power bar establish zone first, and then the other 3 attacks are going to be wind related, in which case you can get a bar in essentially 2 turns. And so at each of the 2 HP stoppers, be aware that the zone does break even if locked in. Remember, the breaking zone isn't overriding a zone, it is actually just vaporizing that zone. So I would actually say that this fight was less difficult than I imagined it'd be. I know some of the more recent AS manifest fights, as well as of course the true manifest fights, have been a little bit more tricky, in which case each HP stopper usually counters with a massive AoE hit or something along those lines. In this case, all it does is break a zone, and if you have the ability to set zone through a move such as preemptive moves like Ultra Suzette, for example, or 7, or even other type units like that, you really won't have too much problem here. As I said, keeping the power down, and obviously if you have units that can do physical shielding or barriers, that would mitigate a lot of the damage as well. Okay, so first time through, not too bad. Obviously not a low turn clear, but the thing is, I just want to take it on and see where we can get with this team, and actually did really well. I love Starkey's counter heal, and I definitely do like Azami's true manifest. Really helps save the fight. Although she doesn't do a lot of damage, she can help you survive, and that's most important with a lot of these boss fights. Alright, so now that we know what the boss does, we can have a little bit of fun taking on AS Nagi's manifest again. And so I actually have compiled 4 different ways of beating the boss. Obviously the first one was the 7 and free team. This one's going to be the all-out wind team that I can muster. We're going to use Ultra Suzette, Ultra Dewey, and AS Kiko and Melissa. I know this is super unfair, and obviously we don't need that kind of power for this kind of fight, but you know, why not? So same thing as usual, we stack up as many buffs as debuffs on the enemy. Remember that even though it breaks our zone, and you can see that it's been locked in, your buffs and debuffs still stay on the enemy and on yourself as well. Now, note that during each AP stopper, she does boost her power by a significant amount, but it doesn't matter if you don't get hit, right? After which, AS Kiko acts first, breaks another HP stopper, and Cyan Slicer just slices right through, absolutely no problem at all. Now, if you look at the loadout, the funny thing is, I actually didn't remember as I was moving Grasta back and forth through different fights as I was experimenting. Check out AS Kiko's Grasta. Now, keep in mind that Ultra Dewey is carrying for Cyan Scyther, aka Ultra Suzette, because Ultra Suzette is the one doing the damage. Note that AS Kiko has no weapon and was still able to bring it to the HP stopper, which is really, really ridiculous. That really shows the power of some of these units. Even though without weapons, we were able to do a significant amount of damage to the boss. Okay. Now, in our next example, remember that again, against Earth-type weapons, manifest weapons, you can either use Earth-type damage or Wind-type damage, Wind being the opposite, which will help protect you and mitigate some damage. Otherwise, the other two elements are resisted, and I believe it's also resisted from the 3 lunar weapon elements, which is, Thunder, Shade, and Crystal. Now, in this case, we're going to use Advanced Grasta here. We have some Pierce Zone setting Grasta, which Claude can now establish Pierce Zone, and then we just blast it down with our Pierce team. Same thing as before, as long as we have a move that can establish a zone from the front, no VC required, and just put it on the fastest unit you have so that they act first, set your zone, and then you just do your thing. Remember that Claude, even though he's a lot older, is really, really good support. Look at that. Set zone, you got the shielding from Garam if you even took a hit, which we didn't. And then she breaks the zone, and True Manifested Suzette, yes, my waifu, did wipe the floor with AS Nagi. Also note that with this update, I was able to buy all the cat equipment necessary to dress up my cat just like Suzette, and so she has the hat, the dark wings, as well as the little frilly scarf that is a trademark of Suzette. Okay, same loadout. Obviously, to maximize damage, we have to have units carrying Grasta for other people. You can definitely further optimize if needed. These last two clears were just 2-turn clears. I imagine a 1-turn clear is possible with the likes of end-of-turn attacks such as AS Victor, maybe AS Shannon, Milsha, so on and so forth. But I didn't try that. It's just more to kind of show some different mechanics as to different fights. Now, in our final example, we are going Earth against Earth. I would not recommend this normally because if you go Earth against Earth, you are powering up AS Nagi's attacks. This is also RNG dependent because she attacks right away. If you see, we didn't see any attacks the first times because we established and attacked with an AF first. But note that she attacks 3 random targets, can actually target the same target. And she does a massive amount of damage even off turn 1. So if you're not able to do a 1-turn AF, you might be relying on some heavy fire in terms of not getting your enemies, your units killed. Obviously, you have heavy duty tanks. You probably can tank some of those hits, but I really didn't want to experiment past that. And remember that we have Garen Barrel giving barrier 100% shielding to each of our units for 1 hit. If they got hit by the same, and I did try this in other runs, they'll die. So not sure what kind of mitigation we need to take down AS Nagi, and obviously that is the trick about this fight as well. Not only does it break zone, but if it hits you, you most likely won't be able to survive unless you have tons and tons of shielding. Okay, so in this fight, in this example, obviously we can now VCM Garen Barrel, and remember that if you do bring the enemy to an HP stopper, it will not attack you that turn. It will just kind of break the zone and give itself some more power. After which, simple. You just hit with Undying Shade to leave break status, and then you just use any of your other DPS that does a single hit to clean up the mess, which is obviously in this case Nakoko. Not a clean kill by any stretch for this final example, but still gives you some ideas if you really have no wind type team to take down the boss and you prefer to use your powerful earth DPS team. Still, I would think the 3 previous examples will probably be a little bit easier to follow. And so hopefully you get a chance to take down this boss and add another gold badge and 100 stones to your collection. I will try to get an AS Nagi reveal out sometime this week as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.